We should have seized all Saudi Arabian assets in this country, declared war on Saudi Arabia, rounded up every one of their citizens living in our country and executed them on public television, and then fired multiple nuclear warheads at that country.
Game. Right, we're back with another video, and I actually made this video yesterday. But being a complete idiot, when I was editing the last video, I deleted this one. So I'm doing it all over again, and it was a little bit annoying when I found out I deleted a 30-minute video. But anyway, so we're back again to review this, and really what we're doing is looking at the Olympia live. So this was streamed live about a week ago, just over a week ago, or yeah, a week ago exactly. And you know, there's someone in the YouTube fitness community that absolutely hates bodybuilding. Absolutely hates bodybuilding. But absolutely loves talking about it. Here he is. Right, so here he is. We're going to be reviewing his video as he reviews the Olympia. Yeah, 2019 Olympia. And the strange thing is, for someone who actually hates bodybuilding, he seems very obsessed with it. And so obsessed that since recording the video yesterday and then losing it, erasing it accidentally, he's made a second Mr. Olympia contest video. So for someone who doesn't like bodybuilding, you know, so he made this one yesterday and this one a couple of days before. So for someone who doesn't like bodybuilding, he seems to really like watching bodybuilding. But we know, don't we? We know why. It's all those muscular men on stage posing in their little panties. Yeah, we know why, don't we? Oh, it's a black man. Look, I bet he stopped and paused and studied this for quite a long time. So I don't know who this is. I don't know anything about professional bodybuilding. Bodybuilding for me is Arnold Schwarzenegger, Franco Columbu, you know, these people, Serge Nubret, Lou Ferrigno, maybe some of the other guys like you know, Dorian Yates. You know, that was it. It was 70s, 80s, 90s for me. The new guys, I haven't got a clue who does what. Obviously, it's still big names in there, Phil Heath and all that sort of stuff, but I really don't know anything about bodybuilding. I'm going to say that straight off the bat. But I'm sure I did see there was some ladies here. If I was to watch bodybuilding, I'd probably be watching this. Yeah, I wouldn't be watching the fellas in their little panties. I'll be watching the babes with the, you know, that's what I'd be watching. You know, that would get my attention. Big muscular fellas in little panties, not for me, really, boys and girls, not for me. He looks like he's been cleaning a chimney. But, looks like a chimney sweep, doesn't he? Yeah, I'd be much more interested in this sort of thing if I was to watch bodybuilding, but I don't watch bodybuilding. But like I say, someone who does obsess over men in little panties, oiled up and fake tan to the eyeballs, is this chap here. So without further ado, let's review his review of the bodybuilding show. So, shall we start? Go on, Blaha. Do your little thing. Nice t-shirt, by the way. Nice t-shirt.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I'm just sitting here having my morning coffee. Like 5 in the morning, trying to wake up.
5 in the morning. He's been awake all night. That's what he's been doing. Who knows what he's been doing? What's keeping him awake? Who knows? Who knows what he's been doing all night? I have a good idea. Ooh, I've been watching the Olympia show, reviewing it very, very carefully and closely, reviewing the Mr. Olympia show.
Fuck this gay for pay faggot.
That's what he's
Fuck
been
him.
doing till 5 in the morning. Now he's trying to get it together to make a video. Fuck, oh man.
But you guys know what time it is. Time to talk about current events in the online fitness community. For those of you who like these type of videos, please remember to click like down below. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. You know,
no, ring my bell.
this whole Olympia thing and the classic physique. I'm going to go ahead and cover this a little bit. I know. People know I'm not a bodybuilding fan. I don't like the bodybuilding world. I don't like the idea of competitive bodybuilding. And people...
So, he doesn't like bodybuilding, he doesn't like competitive bodybuilding, he doesn't like the bodybuilding world, doesn't like bodybuilding full stop, but he's going to do 2 videos back to back on bodybuilding. Yeah. Okay.
We want to know why. I mean, we can set all the health stuff aside. We can set all the nonsense aside, all the BS that goes on in their ridiculous world aside.
Can you sense the envy and jealousy? Because he's never been able to get his body in a shape that even resembles fit. Forget bodybuilder. You know, he's never even had a body that's aesthetically pleasing. I don't know what kind of training. Well, he doesn't do training. We know this, don't we? It's a load of fake weights. It's a load of fluff and pump. It's a load of smoke and mirrors stuff, you know, chains, straps, bands, all the nonsense. Anything to get away from actually working out hard and pushing the limits. That's why. He's the laziest YouTuber on YouTube. Certainly the laziest so-called fitness expert on YouTube. I mean, it's just bizarre. You know, you could get better gains just watching TV and lying on the couch than this guy, you know? What he's doing just does not work. The proof is in the pudding. Quite literally. He looks like a blancmange. So what the hell is he doing every day with those plastic chains, fake weights, and silly elastic bands? I mean, what is he up to in that room? Well, we know it's veiled G for P, don't we? So I'm answering my own questions. But let's hear him ramble on about men in tight little panties, oiled up and all that nonsense. His favourite subject.
And just look at something like what happens with this classic physique division, and then come back and tell me that I'm not justified in my thoughts on this whole thing being insane. Christian Bumstead.
Germany.
Now, he won. Therefore, he has in classic physique, supposedly the best classic physique according to the IFBB in the world this year. I thought the classic physique is a division that they started because bodybuilders looked hideous, right? Because people try to say that, oh, they look good. No, modern bodybuilders do not look good by any metric. Right? You guys can't just recreate. You can't recreate what is considered to be attractive or aesthetic, right? It's like people in certain social circles and SJWs want you to accept and force upon you the idea that certain body types are beautiful and attractive who, you know, are over 100 pounds overweight, right? You can't force people to accept that unless they have a thing for it. Well, it's the same with the current bodybuilding world. Bodybuilding is not aesthetically pleasing to the eye, okay? To the artistic eye, it is not aesthetically pleasing.
Says Jason Blaha, who has a lot of experience because he's lived his whole life being not aesthetically pleasing to the eye. So, you know, we have to listen to Blaha on this because he has a lot of experience in not being aesthetically pleasing to the eye, or probably the nostrils. I'm thinking this t-shirt isn't very. I'm just glad we haven't got smell-o-vision, because I'd be in the other room. I'd be burning my laptop. Because, I mean, this thing must reek. You know, the thought of him sitting in that closet, drinking gravy, in that t-shirt that is rancid, and his underwear in front of a flag that he's bringing shame to, is just horrendous. It's like something a nightmare would be consisting of. You know, it's just quite horrendous. But anyway, the king of being unaesthetically pleasing is talking, so we should listen.
And I'm not even talking about even the enhanced guys. I'm talking about even the natural guys today. Because if they're truly natural, they're still at like 6% body fat, which looks revolting.
Hang on. No, it doesn't. How does 6% body fat look revolting? It looks great. It looks healthy. It looks fit. When all the fighters are, because that's what I know. I know fighting. I know a bit about bodybuilding and weight training and all that stuff. But I'm a fight fan. And when someone is ready and peaked to fight, peak performance, they are looking the best they ever look. I'm not talking about going on stage for a bodybuilding show, because they're dehydrated and everything else. But when they step in a ring, 9 times out of 10, they look the best they've ever looked, because they're fit, their camp has been good, they've trained, they've got themselves just perfect for the fight. Fighting fit. That's where it comes from. If you ask, especially in Britain, if you say to an older guy, an old boy, an old man, say, how you feeling, son? How you feeling today? He goes, oh, I'm fighting fit. Well, there's a reason for that. Because whether you like it or not, whether you want to accept it or not, Blaha, fighting fitness is probably one of the greatest forms of fitness there is, because it encompasses strength, flexibility, aerobic, anaerobic, endurance, stamina. It encompasses everything, and your body has to be super peaked to be able to perform at its best level in some sort of combat. So we bring it back to you facing me on the 2020 April in Texas. 2020 next year, April, Texas. Let's do this, Blaha. Let's find out how fit you are. I'll bring my fighting fitness and put it against your fighting fitness, or your excuse for fitness. But anyway, I digress. 6% body fat is desirable. You can't hold on to it for long. It's like a little mystery cloud. You get it and then it's gone. You can't hold it. It's intangible almost. Because as soon as you eat something, you have a heavy weekend of food and maybe a few drinks, it goes. It's like a it's like a mystery cloud of intangibility. But you can achieve it, and when you get it, it's because you've worked hard and you've peaked to where your body is looking its best. That's it. You look at all the Greek statues, the Roman statues, all these statues, they're aesthetically pleasing. And for this slob to be sitting there in his underwear in a closet saying 6% body fat isn't pleasing to the eye, well, again, it's just more cope, isn't it, from Blaha? We've come to expect this. If he hasn't got it or he's not doing it, then it's shit. And it doesn't matter how shit it is. If he's doing it, then it's the best in the world.
And fuck this faggot.
It's like, here, slag off bands and straps and chains and weight belts, waist, the belts that you wear around your waist, weightlifting belts, all these things until he's doing it. And then it's the best in the world. Here, slag off calisthenics and jumping on boxes and all that stuff, and say anyone that does it is an idiot until he does it, and it's the best in the world. Same with things like keto. He's trying to do keto. I don't think he's really doing keto, but he says he's doing keto. Well, he says he's a fake. He said he was a mercenary as well, didn't he? But no, he says he's doing keto. But before he flip-flopped, didn't he? He said keto is the worst thing in the world. Anyone that does that, blah, 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 is going to die. But now he's doing it. It's the best in the world. So again, it's just more of the same nonsense from Jason Blaha, Mr. Flip-Flop. Just talking absolute nonsense out of his arse. But there you go. That's Blaha. That's what you come for.
Everybody, being shredded is revolting, not aesthetically pleasing to the eye, unhealthy and all that. Because we know intrinsically that it's not healthy to be 6% body fat.
Who's this we? If I could click my fingers now, yeah, and get the fat that I have around my waist off and get down to about sort of single digit body fat, I would. And if I could stay there forever, I would. That's it. Because it is aesthetically pleasing. It is healthy. There's no point carrying around a load of extra weight in fat. I'd rather carry it in muscle. But because Blaha says it's not nice, it's not good, it's not pleasing, then it must be true, right? Absolute madness. I'm going to spend the next few months getting myself seriously fit and stripping off all the fat that's on me that I've accumulated over the last couple of months doing a job that I was doing, which was quite sort of sedentary. And I hate it, I hate bending over and feeling things around my waist that shouldn't really be there. I can't stand it. I don't like being fat. No one likes being fat. Because it's a sign of an unhealthy lifestyle. So for this guy to sit there and talk nonsense like this is absolutely ridiculous. Because I promise you, why do you think gyms exist, commercial gyms? Why do you think fat burners and, all these, fat burning teas and everything, and all these get fit quick schemes and little miracle drugs and all these things that they try and sell? Why does he think they exist? Because people don't like being fat. And for him to say that being ripped is unhealthy. More mental gymnastics from the mad world of Blaha. What's he talking about? This guy's supposed to be a fitness coach. He's trying to pass himself off as a coach and a nutrition expert and a fitness expert. What's he talking about? Being healthy and low body fat is a bad thing. What is he talking about? It's only because he's not and he's never been that he's now saying this. He is insane. His reality is so twisted that anyone normal looking into his strange little world, it's just like a horror show.
Therefore, we know intrinsically that it doesn't look good. So they promote all that nonsense. Well, they've come over and said, well, we're going to create this classic physique so that these guys can look more like the older school guys. Now, they should have called it classic bodybuilding, because I would think of the classic physiques would be guys from the 60s and 70s in the bodybuilding world, the guys who were winning. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Franco Columbo, Serge Nubret. Go back to the generation before them, Reg Park, Larry Scott, Steve Reeves. You look at all those guys, those are classic physiques, right? Classic physiques.
And that is something you've never ever achieved. Not even close. With drugs or without drugs. With your dirty steroids mixed up in a plastic bowl, or without your dirty steroids mixed up in a plastic bowl. All you did was get an infected arm. And your syntho. You've never achieved anything close to that. So who are you to judge, Blaha? Really, who are you to judge? People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. You are no one to judge anyone. The mistakes you've made, the lies you've told. You shouldn't be judging anyone or anything. Ridiculous where you think you have this authority this self-giving authority that you just gave yourself. You don't have any credentials, no academic achievements, no qualifications, nothing. If you did, you would hold up whatever it is, MVQ we have in Britain, sitting guilds we also have, in personal training, something like that, you know, sports science, some sort of, you know, even a simple little diploma, a 3-week course in a gym. You know, it makes me think of Chanel Rini, Rich Piana's ex-girlfriend, sorry. She was lost after Rich died, yeah. And I still follow her channel, and you know, she's quite inspirational. She was absolutely lost. She was in a downward nosedive into hell when he went, yeah, really destroyed. You know, when the love of your life dies like that, that's terrible, you know. But she's pulled herself up. She started a little t-shirt and clothing line. She loves the gym. She's looking better than ever now. Looking really good, as she's ever looked. She is on the keto. She still uses 5% nutrition products, but she wants to get into coaching, because obviously a lot of people ask her for coaching advice because she looks so good. She's seriously connected with the industry. She had Rich Piana by her side for years. Yeah, big name, obviously. But even Chanel Rini is doing like a personal training course just to get qualified in it. Just so she has something real to prove and show her clients that she has a qualification and she can actually preach what she needs to preach, rather than just Googling crap and pretending she's an expert like this person here. Yeah. So even she, way more successful than this person, is still, you know, humbling herself and learning something. And that is a real sign of character. You know, that is a real sign of character, where you can go and put on a white belt. You know, you can start right at the beginning. You could be an expert somewhere else, but you go to a new thing and you humble yourself and you become a student and you start at the beginning. That is a sign of humility, and it's a sign of good character, which is something that is completely alien to this guy. He'd rather lie and cheat and take every shortcut to get admiration, and then it all comes crumbling down when people find out the truth. You know, so that's just you know, that's just how I feel about all this nonsense. You know, when I sit there listening to this guy lie and spout and pretend he's the final word on everything fitness, everything bodybuilding, you know, he is the final word, he is the authority on it all. But only in his world, only in his little closet is he the king. Anywhere else, he's just a clown. You know, so yeah, we're going to move on to the next video, which is this one, where he's giving his thoughts on the Mr. Olympia contest. So this is the first one he did. So this was, let's just have a little listen to this.
I've had numerous people say, Jason, will you talk a little bit about the Mr. Olympia? Will you cover it all? We know you don't like bodybuilding. We know it's not what you do. So, because I had so many requests, I thought I would talk about it for a bit. And
how many requests? Who requested him? Why doesn't he show these requests? Where were these requests?
And fuck this faggot.
You know, where were they? In the Q&As, he gets, he logs into his sock accounts and he types it out so you can actually see it. Where are these numerous requests to cover the Olympia? Where were they? Where are they? Who were they? Nonsense, Blaha. Again, just like the Alan Thrall video, you were trawling through his back catalogue to look for something, anything. Chalk. Gonna do a video on chalk. Now you're doing this. You're clutching at straws. You are desperate for content, and this stuff proves it. You sit there slating bodybuilding, but you want to do 2 10-minute, 12-minute videos on it. Again, it just shows the madness and the hypocrisy, and it just shows you, Blaha. So let's hear him ramble on for a bit, and we'll talk about it, and then we're going to move on to the next video.
And I've got to try to spin this in a positive direction because I'm trying to keep my channel really positive these days, more uplifting, more towards good information and constructive criticism. So it's hard for me to do that with bodybuilding. Now, a lot of times you get people who say, well, Jason, if you don't like bodybuilding, why do you talk about it at all? Well, number one, because it affects my industry.
Has he got an industry now? What's he talking about? What industry is he's talking about? What industry is he part of? I don't recognize him in any type of industry. Maybe sex industry, the G4P stuff. Maybe that could be his industry that he's talking about. Cam work, that is covered under the sex industry, I suppose. So maybe that's what he's talking about, cam work, G4P. I don't know. But I certainly don't see anything of him attaching to the fitness industry or the bodybuilding or the powerlifting. I don't see any of that. I don't see him part of that. That's not his industry. I hope that's not what he's talking about, because if he is talking about that, then he is very, very confused and even more deluded than I thought he was. And that's pretty bad.
It affects my peers. It affects many of my followers. It affects even some of my clients because it's been more or less pushed into the fitness world. Even though it really shouldn't be there, it's been pushed into it. And here's what I would say back to a lot of you out there. There's a lot of you who don't like Donald Trump or you don't like Hillary Clinton, but you still talk about them, right? You see the
trying to equate bodybuilding, which is a very niche part of fitness, very small part, really is a small part of bodybuilding. Bodybuilding is a small part of the whole entire fitness industry. When you talk of, fitness and sports, bodybuilding is so tiny. That's why it's so badly paid, and it's not covered by the mainstream. Football, horse racing, rugby, American football, baseball, these are things that are mainstream in sports. Where's bodybuilding fit in? You don't hear a peep of it. You have to buy specialized magazines, go onto dedicated websites to find out about it. So to say that is absolute nonsense. So trying to equate bodybuilding with politics and Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the president of the United States. Hillary lost to him, if you didn't realize or didn't know that, or maybe you forgot. Politics governs every part of our life. From the amount of work you do, how long your working week is, not yours, Blaha, of course you're excluded from this, how much tax you pay, where that tax goes. So your physical effort, your hours of your life that you get paid to work for, so you're exchanging hours of your life for money, and you're taxed on that money, and then that money goes somewhere else to pay for things like infrastructure, roads, schools, everything else. Politics kind of affects your life, Blaha. Bodybuilding doesn't affect everyone's life. Politics affects every person's life. Even children, they're growing up in a world that is governed by politics, yeah? So what we do today affects the next generation. Politics, Donald Trump, Hillary, that all affects every person in America, in my country, the UK, and the rest of the world. Yeah? It affects us every minute of every day. Bodybuilding, however, doesn't. No one outside bodybuilders and people in the fitness world, which is very small compared to global politics, no one gives a shit about bodybuilding. So, in the big picture, apart from people that give a shit about bodybuilding. So for this idiot to sit here bringing shame to a flag in his underwear and his smelly t-shirt and say that bodybuilding He talks about bodybuilding because people talk about politics. Again, it shows the extent of his detachment from reality. It really does. He hasn't got a clue what's going on beyond his closet. He hasn't got a clue. And that statement he just made really shows that.
The point you might be critical of them. I'm critical of professional bodybuilding and bodybuilding in general. And it's not because I tell guys they shouldn't care about looking good. Look, if you want to look good, if training to be more attractive and following a good diet to be more attractive is the motivation that you need personally, to get under a barbell or to, eat some extra vegetables and not eat so much junk food. Look, if doing things to look better, to look more attractive physically, will help you be healthier, I am all for that. I would say go for it, do it. The problem is that bodybuilding is incompatible with that. And I don't even mean just the IFBB, I mean all competitive bodybuilding. And there is no uncompetitive. I don't recognize that term. That's just someone who trains for hypertrophy and goes on a diet every now and then. The problem you have, though, with stuff like the IFBB, I mean, it came around, and I don't know who any of the guys are this year. All these guys who took the top 5, I only have ever heard of the 4th and 5th place.
It's funny though, because I know why I know why he watched it, or what caught his eye anyway. Bit childish, but I'm sure this. When he saw bodybuilding and he saw the word bum in the name, he was like, oh, bum, ass. Oh yeah, bodybuilding, ass. His little gaydar went off, and he was in there like a heat-seeking missile, wasn't he? That's why.
These guys who came in, who took the 1st, 2nd, 3rd place, I have never heard of any of them. I've never seen any of them in my life. They've never come through my social media feed. So I literally have no clue who they are.
Anyway, so I'm going to leave that one there. This was fun. Let's see how a real bodybuilder, excuse me, Blaha, powerlifter. And he's got the little participation medals to prove it from 5 years ago. They're still there, still on his wall. Anyway, here he comes. Here he is coming into frame here. Just listen to what he says. He thinks people, try and keep a straight face, people say he's athletically gifted. And this is a video he made about pet peeves on social media, talking about 30, 40, 50-year-old men putting up memes saying their bodies hurt from a lifetime of training. Now, I understand where Blaha's coming from this, because, let's face it, he hasn't been training that long. He's 42 years old. He says he was bedbound in his 30s, or I don't know what. I can't keep up with the lies, but we know he's lived a very sedentary lifestyle, sitting around playing video games. He made himself obese and put himself in bed because of it. He got so obese that he couldn't walk and he had to be bedbound. Mr. One-Ton Fun. He's not trained. He hasn't had an athletic and physical and sports orientated childhood. We know that. Yeah, he said he was a beast when he was 19. He got, up until the age of 19, he got even sort of more overweight when he hit 19, and he got even more heavy and more overweight and put himself in bed. Right, so we know there's a serious issue there. Yeah, so he doesn't understand what being fit and physical is about, because that only happens when you're a child. If you've been introduced to sports at a young age, then you know what it's like to be fit and healthy into adulthood. But if you were obese as a child, then the chances of being fit and healthy are, as an adult, they diminish. Yeah, we have to be realistic on that. Yeah, if you're a fat kid, then you're probably going to be a fat adult as well. Yeah, it's very rare to turn it around for a lot of people because they just get into these bad habits and bad lifestyles. So we know this, and we know that Jason Blaha has never had a physical child, been a physical child from his own admission. So when he starts, sorry, I rambled on there, but when he starts talking about 30, 40, 50-year-olds talking about their bodies hurt from a lifetime of training, I mean, I've been injured in the past from judo. I mean, I thought I broke my neck at one time, and it put me quite literally on the couch for 3 weeks. I couldn't even lay in bed. I couldn't lie flat in bed. I had to lie on the couch for 3 weeks. I couldn't lift my right arm. My right pec got down, just deteriorated. My right tricep deteriorated. I really was in a bad way. I was desperate to try and get some strength back. I couldn't even do a push-up. That's how bad it was. 3 weeks on the couch, not moving my arm because my neck was damaged so badly. Yeah. And he's and that's from a lifetime of training. So he is, again, criticizing 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds, 50-year-olds who have beat up bodies from pushing them to the limits as children, as teenagers, and as young men. And that is completely alien to Blaha because he hasn't done that. He's been throwing these fake weights around maybe since about 35 years old. Up until the age of 35, by his own admission, he never did anything. There's some dodgy pictures when he was, we've seen him with the sight enhancement where he looks like he's melting. He's simfold up and it just looks ridiculous. There's no muscle mass there. And I'll put the picture up now. There's no muscle mass there. It's just all syntho. And it looks like he's melting. We've seen those pictures. So that is the closest thing he ever got to aesthetic. Yeah, but he's never been fit, healthy as a child, a teenager, or a young man. And for him to go on and just, criticize people for having broken bodies from a lifetime of, training, maybe semi-professional or professional, is disgusting. Yeah, we got this guy here saying he hasn't got any injuries because he knows how to train right. Wrong. He hasn't got any injuries because, firstly, he doesn't train hard, and secondly, he's only been training, if you want to call it that, throwing fake weights around, since 35, so maybe about 7 years. He's been pretending to be in the fitness world. That's the ridiculousness. So I'm going to let him talk, and you just pick it up. But the idea that his followers tell him that he's a gifted athlete, I can't even say it without laughing. So just watch and listen, because it's absolutely ridiculous.
Jason Blaha here, and today I'm going to chat with you guys a little bit about one of my pet peeves.
Gifted athlete, guys. My God. Vile.
That I see, and that's social media memes of people who are 35,
what's
40,
that?
50, where they post all these memes about how beat up and banged up their body is and how it makes them tired. And I really dislike those memes. They're a pet peeve.
Let me just spin that back. Sorry, I've enlarged it slightly there. Oh. What was the little shimmy and a shake he did? Little shimmy and a shake. Watch this. Before he sets up for the deadlift, does that weird little shimmy and a shake, little wiggle in the walk for the lady. Women, females, you can tell. When you see one of these strange men dressed as women, you can tell, even from behind, even if they're slim and they've really they're trying to look the part. Women have a wiggle in the walk. Yeah, they have a wiggle in their walk. They move a different way because their pelvis is different. Yeah, there's a little wiggle in the walk. That's how you can tell a woman from a man. You see a man walking, even if it's a transvestite, walking down the street, transsexual, whatever you want to call them, trans, LGBTQ, questioning. What's that? Questioning. Oh, I'm questioning my sexuality. Questioning. The old alphabet people. Right, even if you're walking behind one of these things, you can
Fuck
see a
this
woman,
gay for pay faggot.
and you can
Fuck
tell
him.
it's a man, because there's no wiggle in the walk. There's a little wiggle in the walk. It's what hypnotizes real men. We're walking behind a woman, and you just see that movement, and you're just like, oh yeah, here we go. I love this. Yeah, the wiggle in the walk. Unfortunately, it's not as nice, but Blaha's got the wiggle in the walk. Watch. It's quite unnerving. It's quite disturbing. So who knows what he originally was? I don't know. Will we ever know? But it doesn't look right. Watch the wiggle. In the wiggle before the deadlift. Watch.
Of people who are 35 or 40 or 50, where they post all these memes about how beat up and... But about one of my pet peeves that I see, and that's social media memes of people who are 35.
That's got to be for the G for P, boys. It really does. That little wiggle and sticking his arse out, his butt, sticking his butt out, arching his back. That's got to be. I bet there's a camera back there, and he's filming it for his other channel, whatever. I don't know how he sells it, but there's got to be, isn't there? I mean, the way he wiggles and arches the back for the boys, I mean, it's quite disturbing. Watch.
My pet peeves that I see, and that's social media memes of people who are 35 or 40 or 50, where they post all these memes about how...
Anyway, if you can avert your gaze and listen to what he's saying, he's talking about the pet peeve, saying 35, 40-year-old, 50-year-olds, and their bodies are beat up.
35 or 40 or 50, where they post all these memes about how beat up and banged up their body is and how it aches and they're tired. And I really, really dislike those memes. They're a pet peeve of mine. And actually, I'm hoping a lot of you will share this video with members of your family. And before people say stuff like, well, Jason, you're...
Just the one. Suck it in, Blaha. Suck it in. Look at those big old, relatively narrow hips, guys. Very. His hips are as wide as his shoulders. That tells you something. When your hips are wider than your shoulders. Anyway. Suck it in.
You're a gifted athlete or something. Everyone who follows me and follows what people say about me online knows. And before people say stuff like, well, Jason, you're a gifted athlete or something, everyone who follows me and follows what people say about me online knows this.
Who says he's a gifted athlete? And then he tries to discount. He goes, oh, no. Anyone that follows me online knows I'm not a gifted athlete. Firstly, no one says you're a gifted athlete, Blaha. And secondly, we can see you're not a gifted athlete. You are genetically cursed, my friend. I know it's cruel. And none of us are perfect. I'm far from perfect. I am. I've got my demons, trust me. Yeah, I've got my flaws. But I don't parade myself online, on YouTube, saying that I'm perfect and I am, the ultimate answer to fitness. I've got all the answers to all the questions. I'm the authority. Everyone else doesn't know what they're doing, but I do. See, when you do that, when you come at it from that angle, you get problems. Yeah? Like I say, I have my flaws, trust me. Yeah? I am far from perfect. But when you parade yourself around like you are perfect, then, that's where the trouble begins. Anyway, so, no one said this guy was a gifted athlete, and we don't need him to pretend humility, saying, "Oh no, stop it, guys, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. Don't say I'm perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm not a gifted athlete. Don't be silly." Fake humility. Anyway, let's listen.
And before people say stuff like, well, Jason, you're a gifted athlete or something, everyone who follows me and follows what people say about me online knows that's not the case. I am not a genetically gifted athlete.
We know. We can see. That's what I just said. We know that. Our eyes work, unlike yours. They work. Jesus. You don't have to clarify that for us. That's one thing we can all agree on.
Okay? I do not have amazing, phenomenal genetics.
We know, Blaha. You do not need to tell us or clarify it. We can see for ourselves. Please, just give it a rest. We don't need to hear you confirming it. We can see that. We've known it all along. I want to know how many of these are fake. I reckon the last 3. I reckon he's got one in the one on the inside, and that's it. But I think they're all fake, apart from 2. Anyway, let's hear him talk more nonsense.
I'm not a person who's been able to successfully live a perfect lifestyle, either with no medical issues. I spent 10 months in bed sick in my 30s.
See, now he said it was 6 months, 10 months, a year, over a year. I do wish he'd keep up with his lies, because it confuses the rest of us. It really does. It confuses me. It confuses you guys, I'm sure. How long did it... Because I think he even said he spent 3 months at one point on a forum. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, over a year. Maybe he had amnesia. He can't remember. I don't know. But, if this is something my mum used to say. She used to say, if you're going to be a liar, you've got to have a very good memory. So it's easier not to lie, just tell the truth. And that's pretty much what I've always done. It doesn't matter how bizarre the truth is, I'll say it and tell it. Because if I start making, twisted fantasies and lies, you just got to remember all that crap. And Blaha's a shining example of how it can go very wrong for you when you have years and years of lying and deception and deceit. So I'm going to leave it there, I think. Yeah, we've got a good 45, 46, 47 minute video here. Yeah. I'm going to leave it on this aesthetic beauty. And I'm going to say thank you to the person that donated the first donation to the GoFundMe page to raise £2,500 to get us out to Texas and to hire wherever we're going to put the fight on or anything like that. If this guy mans up, if he finds his balls, if he wants to try and claw back some of his credibility and his and some respect. I mean, just for a minute. I mean, guys, can you imagine if Blaha met me in a ring? I know it'd be funny seeing him, with a head guard on and boxing gloves and a gum shield. It'd be funny to see. Put him up. But and then hiding when he's getting clouted around the head and everything, turning his back and sticking his head out the ropes. I mean, it'd be farcical. But could you imagine if he found the courage to say yes? Straight away I'd have more respect for him. If he got in the ring or on the mat with me and faced me man to man, his black belts against mine, I would have so much more respect for him. Forget the nonsense about killing. Oh, I'm going to carry a gun and I need protection, and you can't provide the protection that I can. Blah, 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 blah. All the nonsense, mercenary bullshit. Just be a man, get in the ring or on the mat, and face me. You know, we're going to be, you know, I'm 5'10", you're 5'9", we'll fight at 220 pounds. Perfect. Yeah, perfect opponents. Yeah, fight under any rule set that you want: boxing, kickboxing, judo, wrestling, MMA, whatever you want to wear. We can wear protective wise, whatever rule set you want to wear, you want to fight under. You know, but can you imagine if he actually found the balls to get in the ring? How much credibility it would give him, and how much respect he'd claw back, and how good his channel would get after that. You know, because it's crashing into the ground now. It's in a death spiral. You know, we saw it on my last video. All the you know, the deletions of fake subs and all that stuff. I don't know what happened there, but we can guess, yeah. But can you imagine the credibility? He'd be able to you know, milk it for months afterwards as well. You know, and it'd just give him so much more respect in the YouTube fitness community, you know. And then he could set up other sort of little exhibition fights with Vegan Gains or anyone, you know, and just be normal instead of hiding in his room, you know, scared of the Muslims. Oh, the Muslims! You know, looking out the window, yeah, making sure, you know, no one's out there going to get him. So, Blaha, get on the mat, mate. I'm going to be in Texas next year. Yeah. And I'd love to face you on the mat. So like I say, thank you to my first GoFundMe contributor. The links are down below. Also, we have another PayPal donation. And this is from, I'm going to just use your initials, CK. And they are in Germany. So thank you, CK, yeah, for your PayPal contribution to the cause. And that's really, I think, where we're going to leave it for today. So, I hope that was informative. Like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, tell a family. But most of all, leave a comment. Please leave a comment down below, because I love reading the comments. They inspire me, and they inspire me to make other videos. And, yeah, that's it, I think. So, until next time, I'm out of here.
If you enjoy eating meat, then just eat meat. And I would say, well, if you enjoy raping women, just go rape a woman. I mean, it fucking feels good, right?
Let me put the nail in this coffin real tight. God hates a coward. God hates a coward. 21:8 says, but the cowardly and the unbelievers, murderers, the sexually immoral, sorcerers, idolaters, and all liars shall have their part in the lake of fire, which is the second death. God wrote that, I didn't.
Hey, fuck this Haji. I'm going to shoot him in the gut at 300 yards and let him bleed out for a little while. And then when he's too weak to fight back, me and my friend are going to go pick him up and have a little fun with him and make him fucking talk before we feed him to the pigs.